How are you guys doing? Dr. John here with the third installment, actually, of Dr. John's Startup School, coming to you live here from Osceola, Wisconsin.
That's right.
From our wonderful corporate headquarters here. I have been talking for the last several weeks about all the fundamentals related to your business, how you really get it started. A lot of people want to know how to make a business plan, how to pitch your business plan, what is entailed with the business plan, how do you make a forecast up. And then last week we went through a presentation. So how do you make a presentation? And I kept on saying, hey, there's a difference between the presentation and the pitch.
Right.
Before we get started, you guys should really take a look at our resources, right? Podcasts, we got product tours, we got mini courses.
We got the guides, the calculators.
All those things. Go take them. Go take them. They're there for the taking. We like to educate people.
Your success is our success.
Exactly. So yeah, we're kind of all about that. So if you look on the web and you look at all the different companies out there, most of the time, basically all of our competitors are just, giving you a brochure, giving you a quotation. What we're trying to do is something completely different, and that is come to the marketplace with resources that you can use to not only make a decision of whether or not you want to buy a product. We actually do that all the time. We, come up with some, financial models for you guys, or we'll come up with some sort of value models for you guys. So anyway, the stuff that's on the website there is meant to really help you in that endeavor. So hopefully you take advantage of them. So we got basic elements. They look pretty basic, don't they? A strategic framework. Remember we went over that? That was the what they call entrepreneurial
EOS.
EOS, yeah, the entrepreneurial operating system. I've actually used it, and it's really good. It's awesome. In fact, if you actually get your team, meaning your executive team, in the room and you start talking about what your business looks like in 3 years, what your 10-year goal is, what your 3 uniques are, and really what galvanizes the people that are making the company all work together. That's called core values. If you can really get that, you are beyond a lot of really good companies that actually haven't done that, and they're less effective than they could be if they did have that good strategic framework. So we also talked about the business plan, like I said, and I showed you, we do have resources also that you guys can download. Yep. So like templates and things like that. The business plan is when you actually are making up your forecast and, figuring out how much money you're going to make.
Right, the financial planning.
Yeah, that's what they call the hockey stick graph. That's where you're starting at zero, and then you go way negative, and then you start to make a lot of money, and then it goes way up. So, and then everybody becomes billionaires in the third year. That's how we roll, right? That's right. So, presentation, we went over that also, and that we do have templates for you guys on all these items. So today, what I'm going to be talking about is something that I really like, and that is the pitch, and the difference between the pitch and the presentation. So let's kind of get started. The difference between the pitch and the presentation. Any guesses? Any guesses?
No.
Love it. That's awesome. The presentation really kind of, it gives you a lot of data. It's awesome. No, sorry, I can do that. No, the presentation gives you a lot of the data. It gives you the market data, it has citations, and it's kind of a summary, obviously, of the business plan. It has, it's also a summary of PPM, the private placement memorandum, because it has, what you can use the funds for, the cap tables in there, what your forecast is that comes straight from your business plan. But it also has some strategic things also in there, like what you're all about, what you guys do. What I have found is that if you use, that same presentation model, sometimes you just can't get it conveyed quick enough. Now, you can make a presentation to match your pitch, but it probably wouldn't be as effective. You need to be able to say something to someone in a very concise sort of way. And that's really what the 1 minute pitch is. And that's what the 20 minute pitch is. So when you pitch to an investor, 20 minutes is more than enough. You don't want to be talking for more than 30 minutes. If it's a 1 hour long, presentation, You need to get it down in size, and you need to practice it so that it's a lot quicker than you did. So 1 minute pitch is really what it is, hey, here's what we are, here's what we do, here's the market we're in, and we've been doing so great, that's proof.
Right.
So you got the 1 minute pitch, you got the proof, and by the way, we've got lots of customers, and here's why they like us, and here's what makes it obvious to those customers. And by the way, we're really sustainable because we got a lot of people in our pipeline, we got a lot of leads, we got global leads, we're number one in socials, and we also have lots of IP, so it's also defendable. And by the way, we really manage our business because we have core processes, because those are in our EOS, and we have 3 core processes. And by the way, that's how we measure them. We measure them. We check leads every week. We're always looking for that. We have some core key process indicators. That is the pitch.
Gotcha.
So that's a little bit, kind of different, I guess. It's, gets you, it's kind of different than if you look at what would go into a presentation, and some people would be upset if you didn't have all that information in the presentation. This is a very high density speaking, but low density on pictures and things like that. So it's just a pitch. So someone's going to be looking at you and saying, hey, here's what it all is. So you don't want it to have more than 20 minutes in terms of your pitch time.
Right.
You need to leave room for questions and answers and talking. So I think a lot of things that people make a mistake in, because they want to tell you everything about your business, right? We want to tell you everything that's going on. We want to tell you where the location of the eyewash stations are, whatever
Right,
it is. You really have to be able to just talk about the essence of your business, why people want to invest in it. That's really what this is about too. And that will leave time for Q&A, that'll leave time for them to talk. And that way you can do it. Now, one thing about any type of presentation, guys, is that you must do your homework, okay? That means before you get on the phone, or before you get on a Zoom call, or before you see them in person, you should do your homework about the person. That's just fundamental. You should know where they're coming from. What are their core values, for example? What do they invest in typically? What have they done in the past? Is this a company, for example, that would invest in a company like yours? Have they ever invested in a company, early stage company, or maybe having their early growth capital? So those are some things that you should do your homework on that customer, right? You want your core values to kind of align with your investors' core values, because if it doesn't, you're going to be kind of it's probably not a good investor for you. So, and that's why it's really important that you do that strategic stuff right up front, so that you know what your core values are. If you read through their website and you read through their stuff and you say, okay, well, here's what you guys are all about, then guess what? We're like that too. We're aligned. We believe that sustainability is the number one important thing that a company can do. And it has to make money, so we're gonna create a money-making sustainable company. Okay, that's a core value. You could, for example, look for investors that are also very interested in ESG, for example, or environmental sustainability items. So that would be something where you would do your homework. You would relate your core values to their core values, and you would be connecting with them at this core value level.
Right.
Versus, hey, I just have something to sell you. Please give me $1 million so I can make money, make you a bunch of money. It's not about that. It's about you connecting with their core value. You cannot do that if you don't do your homework ahead of time.
Right.
So do your homework. If someone is referring you to them, you need to ask that other person about them, and you need to see what their company is. You need to look at it. I mean, this is just audience analysis 101. Okay? That's all we're saying. You have to know your audience in order for you to connect with your audience. Period. Okay, and then here's something that a lot of people don't really do. They'll have a product, and they'll say, we're going to sell this product, and it's going to create this amount of money in the future, and then we're going to sell it off, or we're going to do something like that. Okay, you really need to talk about the future in the sense of what's your 3-year vision look like? What is it that your 3-year goal is like? What does the company look like Oh, okay. Well, right now we're in my mom's basement, and we have, two computers, and I drove up in my Hyundai. Okay, there's a vision for you, and we get pizza. There's pizza boxes all over the floor, and there's a video console for video games. Okay, and this is what our business starts off with. Okay, there you go. That's the vision of the current state. Now, put in your mind's eye what it looks like in 3 years. Well, we are in 100,000 square foot high rise with glass mirrors and Mercedes cars and
Flying cars.
Flying cars. Why not? And what else we got?
Just hoverboards and
Hoverboards, yes.
just money is just flowing in through the assembly line.
Yes. They just take a big pipe of the treasury. They're shoveling it in one side, and then they have another guy on the other side just taking all the money out.
Right.
That's the best kind of business possible.
And it goes directly into the investor's pockets.
Exactly, and then preferably with a little stop.
No, that's the other side.
That's good. Okay, so we got some pitch time. Okay, so talk about the future, guys. And the only way you can talk about the future is if you can see that vision. You have to be able to communicate what does this business look like in 3 years? Mm-hmm. Can you paint a verbal picture?
Right.
And can it be done like that? That's what you need to do. So there it is. So here we're going to go through these steps one by one. 1 minute pitch. Okay, this is where you've done your homework. And you say, hey, look, I looked at your website. We believe that this is what we do. We like to have the best operational excellence company, and here's what we've done. And so I noticed that your company is a lot like that as well. So we kind of align on that, and it really makes a difference because it's how we really structured our business, and it's one of the main reasons why we are successful. You need to be able to tell them, hey, what kind of business are you? Well, we're a business that makes widgets, and we sell them globally. And why the investment is so great? Well, because there's really high demand for our widgets. We grew from 0 widgets, and in 2020 all the way up to 180,000 widgets at $100,000 a piece. Would you believe it? $100,000 a piece. These are very good widgets. Okay,
They're the best widgets.
Okay, and then that would also give you proof, right? Like, oh, wow! As soon as you hear that, like somebody's going to be interested. It's going to be of interest. Wow, they sold 100,000 widgets at $100,000 each, whatever the number is.
Right.
And they went from 0 to that, and so they go, wow, there is that business. Whoever your investors was going to really think about that and go, hey, look, you're offering proof for what you did, right? Some people, they, you've seen the Shark Tank, right? And so people are, there's all the different investors, and they all like, oh, well, I'm out because I don't know that business.
Right.
Well, I'm in because I do know that business, and you showed me proof, and I know that business. I think I can really help you in that. So if you're able to give proof, that's a huge deal.
You're not just somebody with an idea. You're somebody that has shown that they can execute on that idea.
Right, exactly. By the way, I didn't say anything about numbers in here, but you've got to know your numbers. You got to know your margins. You got to know your gross margins. You need to know all your ratios. You need to know your balance sheet levers. You need to know, your top line, your bottom line, and every year. You have to know that, because if there's a financial guy in your investors, they're going to ask you, and if you don't know, then you don't know your business. Period. So that's something you got to know your numbers. So. But the pitch is a little bit different than just going over the raw numbers. The pitch is really your vision and why people buy from you. Mm-hmm. So why do the customers buy from you? What are they looking for? What need are you needing? Are there different types of customers? Well, we have customer A, customer B, customer C. They love us because we do this, this, and this for them. So that's really what makes it obvious. So. We have 4 different types of customers around the world. Our number 1 type of customer lives in Mexico, and they like our stuff because whenever they buy it, they are gaining to themselves $100,000 in value. Would you believe it? $100,000.
Okay.
Okay, so and so that's why they would benefit talking to you. So I didn't know Spanish, and so I picked up a book because the value was so great, and now I know Spanish and I can communicate with them. That's actually a great story. So those are the types of things that you should say. Who are your customers? Where are they? What do they need? What are the different types? What makes them obvious, and what is the value, and why should they be talking to you at all? Okay, if you can articulate that in a minute or two, you've gone far. Okay, the problem is articulating it in a minute or two, right? By the way, we were talking in our EOS about strategic focus and what the 3 uniques are and what your market focus was. That's where in this 1 minute pitch, that's where what is your business? That's when you need to say, okay, we're in this market, we have a market focus, the market's growing this fast, and so on and so forth. Right. So I didn't forget that, but that's where you put it. Okay. So then how is your business sustainable? Sometimes sustainable can mean different things to different people, right? It could be how sustainable is it? In other words, can you get the customers coming back again and again?
Right, and in 3 years, is this even going to be still a viable product?
Right, so it's sustainable. So that's where you give your opportunity to really talk about, okay, what's my pipeline? What is my customers that continue to purchase, and why will they continue to purchase? Mm-hmm. What does the market drivers say that is going to happen with this market in 3 years? Right, and it should be a third party, right? Like according to Acme Market, report A1002, the demand for aluminum Q45 is high, and it's going to grow at 145% compound annual growth rate for a total of $700 billion in excess growth. Would you believe it? $700 billion for aluminum Q45. Okay, so what's the driver of that? Well, it turns out that people really want aluminum Q45. It's going to be in your cell phone. It's going to be in your shoes. They're going to build buildings out of aluminum Q45, and it's the number one energy in material on the face of the planet. Okay, if you could really do that in aluminum Q45, that would be the driver, right? Energy or something like that. Okay, how long will that last? You say, hey, look, there's a runway here, and there's a runway for growth. If I'm saying, hey, look, I got a market here, and I know what it is. I'm going to sell 8-track tapes, okay? And I'm going to set up an 8-track tape, and I'm going to do it in rural Pennsylvania. Well, I don't know. You may be able to find, a niche market with like millions of people around within, a couple, 10-mile radius of you. But doing it in a rural area where there's not a lot of traffic, that may not be a sustainable business.
That's right. The
8-track tape business. Okay, and there is no, it's a waiting business too. I don't know. I don't even know what an 8-track tape looks like, but it just came into my mind that something, can you think of another waiting business? Something that's going away, something that's not going to last, something that's CDs.
VHS.
Yeah, VHS. Okay, you can think of those things. Okay, so then what makes your business defendable? That is, do you have it protected from the U.S. Patent Office? You don't have to talk about all your patents. In fact, don't talk about them at all. Right. Say we got 4 issued, and 5 pending, and we got 6 trademarks, and that's it. Mm-hmm. They're going to do their due diligence later. You don't need to spend any time going all over the details of that. Okay. And why would people buy from you and not your competition? Now, you've told them all about that prior to this, but you can make it explicit and say, hey, our competitors don't have this, and this. Right. What is it that you do that others don't? And then step 4 is how are you managing your business? This does not have to be a long thing, but it should say, hey, look, our business is really built on 3 core processes. We run those, and we also run a sustainable process. And here's how we measure. We measure leads generated per week. We measure social media posts liked per week, or social media engagement per week, and that really drives our main engine of progress and growth. So it just shows that, hey, look, you're not just, out there without a plan.
Mm-hmm.
You're running a process.
You've thought about it.
You've thought about it, and you're measuring that process. That's management 101.
Right.
Now, here's where you get to the future. Back to the future. What does the business look like in 3 years? This is the type of thing that you need to really think about. Like, what does it look like in 3 years? We talked about that. How much are you going to grow? How much money are you going to make? What's your hot new product? What is the future of the investment created? This is really where you can shine, because you can create a vision for what it looks like in the future for your investor. Okay, so your investor that you're aligned with on the values, that now you're told, why you're going to win, why it's defendable, why it's sustainable, why customers buy from you. And now you're going to tell them, hey, this is what the future looks like for us. We're going to go from our basement with all the pizza boxes on the floor, and we're going to go to a high rise with, a flying cars. And so how do investors get their money back? This is always what they want to know. And you could say, we're asking for $10 billion, and we will return to you $100 billion. $100 billion, would you believe it? In 3 years. 3 years. 1 year. 1 year.
6 months.
Medium Q45. No, we're not going to do distributions because we're going to do an IPO and take over the market cap of that. So those are the types of things that, investors want to hear, and because they're looking, well, look, I could give this guy $1, and with that type of return, heck, I could be a billionaire in less than a year.
Right.
So that's kind of what they're looking for, and that's the step. So that is essentially what this is all about. Maybe give you a little pitch here that I kind of worked out myself. I haven't really practiced this, so I'm kind of ruining my own rules here. When you practice, you should have your friends around you, and they're going to be, But the main thing is to get the time down so that all the words are right at the top tip of your tongue, right? If you don't practice, you're always searching for, kind of like my podcast, what the right word is, right?
Right.
And then, so it's important that you practice. And the more you practice, the shorter it will be, the more information dense it will be, the more impressive it will be, the more that you'll be able to focus on your investor. You'll be able to focus on them and what they have to say and listen to them rather than always trying to be worried about what you're going to say. You want to try to make it as short as possible. So that's the pitch process. That's the bottom line. I'm going to do a little pitch here for my business because we do this. So I did write our programs, and I only got like 2 hours worth of stuff here. Let's see here. So anyway, suppose I'm going to pitch my business for an investment to, for example, a financial buyer or something like that. And I've gone on their website ahead of time, and I know that they are like big into ESG and things like that, or they're big into operational excellence, or they like to buy companies and then fix them up, or maybe they're a really good industrial company and they want to be able to, they want to buy companies like their own to bolt on and then make bigger. Okay,
right.
So there are all kinds of different ideas there. So I'm going to pitch to say, basically an industrial company. So I'll do that. So I'm going to talk to an industrial company investor, someone who knows that business. So anyway, hey, how are you doing? Dr. John T here. How you doing? So yeah, I guess, I've looked at your website and looking at your, all your processes and everything, and it really aligns with a well-run operating company. We run operational excellence programs here at our business, so I see that we have a point of alignment, and just something that we like to do. We have our value stream maps that we've implemented here. We have our KPIs, we do kaizans every week, and we ended up really taking our balance sheet inventory, our inventory that's on our balance sheet, and reducing it by almost 50%. We increased our turn by 20x, and so that's something that we really do, and I know you guys are really big on that as well. So we've really improved our cash flow by really following that operational excellence, and I think it's really fundamental to a business But we're really a B2B business, a lot like yourselves. You guys do B2B work, in rurally and specialty niche manufacturing. And we also have industrial IoT. So we do all those things together, and we do have a global footprint. And, we're in this market that is crazy good. I mean, it is poised for immense growth. We're talking about 27% compound annual growth rate, $43 billion left yet to be harvested in the next several years. And, it's really is a huge opportunity for us because we do complete solutions. And that means we make equipment and we put those all together in solutions for our customers. And we add on to that some management consulting, we add on to that some industrial IoT, we add on software to really run the whole thing, and then we follow up after the fact with equipment delivery, commissioning, and then consumables, which is a recurring revenue stream associated not only with being able to use the consumables again, like filter papers and things like that, but also software, subscriptions. So we have that business, and really what that's done for us is it landed us in the last 4 years, it landed us onto the Inc. 500 list. We grew 2,140%. And we had put to the bottom line about 114% compound annual growth rate from 2016 to 2020. And we see that as the next step on our ladder of going and really harvesting a great amount of this market. We've spent a lot of time investing in international markets, and we see that accelerating for us. And a lot of people buy from us because they want to get into the business of botanical processing, and they really need help putting it all together. Oftentimes they're entrepreneurs or they're big companies who want to really have help navigating all the compliancy and all the GMP. Oftentimes they need help with training and quality and documentation and grassroots things like that. So that really we're bringing all of that know-how together and we're getting them up and running. And that really gives them a huge advantage in the marketplace. It minimizes their investment risk. They can come to our facility, see a working operation. They don't have to visualize it in their mind that we have a working operation. So they can come and see that, and it really reduces their time to market also. So we also, some other things that you wouldn't normally expect, it reduces their costly changeovers and eliminates all the various consultants that oftentimes come to you with very different ways of going about business. And if you have, 6 different, consultants, you're going to get 6 different answers, all going in different directions. So just reducing to one vendor or one supplier really adds a lot of clarity and focus to your business, especially that one business can do the entire amount. Our business is extremely sustainable. We have about 300 million in our pipeline of various opportunities that we have around the world. So it's a very large pipeline. We have a very good close ratio on that. Our B2B business model is very well known. All of our top executives within our company essentially have been in a B2B business model for over 10 years. And we have great product offerings, and they're continuously adding new products all the time. So people are really looking at our business and they're looking at it from, wow, that business is very really sustainable investment for me. It's going to continue. And in addition to that, our recurring revenue is quite high percentage of our overall sales. So, as we build the business, we get information, and we get, recurring annuity revenue essentially from our software that we provide to people and from the consumables that is attached to equipment. So that's really why our business is sustainable. And we also work with a different kind of sustainable customer, and that is someone who's very interested in the environmental impact. We can show them and work with them to really reduce their environmental footprint and really take it down and give them calculations that they need to really, for example, talk about that with their investors. So That's something else that we do. It's defendable. We have lots of IP, been patenting now for many, many years. We are one of the only companies that gives a full tailored solution to the customer. We have a very large breadth of offering, and we do quite a bit of management consulting. I'd say that maybe 30% of my time is just spent with the customers doing management consulting. So I pretty much work on the front end as a CEO, and I work closely with customers at the very front end, working with them to make them successful. So our business is well run. We have core processes. We have a sales process. We have an engineering process. We have a quality process. We're an ISO 9001 company. We're also a CGMP certified company because we have our operation here that is our demo operation. We also have various other ASME. We are an ASME shop, which means that we have that quality system here, and we can sell around the world because we've obtained other quality badges, essentially like PED, and we're a UL panel shop as well. We have local 485 on the for our pipe fitting union, and we're a weld shop here. So of course we're cutting steel, we're making steel, we're making all of our products. And we're really adjusting all those products as the market changes. We're trying to give our customers the best pharmaceutical style GMP compliant products and services that are possible. So that's really how we run our business. The future, we're looking at over $100 million in revenue here in the next several years. We're going to grow our company at least by 25 to 30%. And that really is going to put a tremendous amount of money onto the bottom line, essentially because we're going to leverage our operational excellence programs, really bring it right down to a very, very highly profitable company. We're going to continue with our market focus on the hemp and the botanical extracts. We're not going to change that because the fundamentals of the market are so good. Plus, there's some key drivers there. So that's really what we're all about. And of course, we're also looking at potential acquisitions. We have a full slate of those with some roll-ups, both geographic, expansion, and then also other market expansion. So if we did get into other markets and start selling our stuff, we would probably do that via acquisition. So that's really what our company is all about. We're happy to take any questions. That's it. We covered a lot of ground, went over the entire amount. You can see I was kind of looking at my notes as I was doing that, but it's okay if you look at your notes. But you can see how it is, and then the investors look at it and watch and say, "Wow, I got another 40 minutes. Let's get into this business. Let's talk about it." You know what I mean? Which is really what we want. So make sure you know your numbers. Make sure you keep it short. Make sure you answer at least the questions that I add on here, and I think you'll be doing really well. And then when you leave, they're going to want a business plan, so you can hand them the presentation, and you can have them your PPM, and then also your business plan. Just hand it to them and say, "Hey, here's all the information." They're going to be like, "Wow, this guy's got it together. This gal's got it together." Mm-hmm. They have everything they need, and of course, that's going to create more questions. And usually questions are a good sign because they're buying signals. People want to know. They're not going to spend any more time with it if they don't care. Right. They're not going to ask questions.
They're not going to invest their time.
They're not going to listen. And if they don't care, and they say at the end of your 20-minute speech, they say, "Oh, well, that's enough. We don't want to hear anything more." Well, then you've only wasted a half hour there, 20 minutes of your time, and only 20 minutes of their time. So that happens, just like, "Hey, look, I never would invest in this. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to lead you on." That's the type of investor that you want. You don't want to have someone. I don't think anybody wants to just answer questions for the sake of answering questions, right? No. Just because they're interested, right? If they don't care about it, they don't care. All right. Well, I hope that helped you guys in some way, and you can kind of see what the difference is between a pitch and a presentation, right? Right. I mean, the presentation is, it's more like this is kind of off the cuff. You're looking directly at the investor. You're giving time to talk. You can actually do this with if you made like a pitch presentation, if you wanted to have pictures to help you along with it. But I think a lot of these guys, they're just going to listen to you. and they're going to look at your confidence, they're going to look at your manner of how you go about doing that. If you hit all of the items, they're going to be engaging you on one of three things: your future, your financials, and then they might ask you a question about your growth and how did you end up getting there. Notice I didn't tell them who I was, like in 10 minutes, tell them, oh, well, then I did this, and then I did that, and then my career brought me here, my mom and dad, nothing to that. So no, didn't do any of that. Say, here's what I am, here's my background. And you can see that the industrial investor that I was talking to, I immediately said, hey, we got all these programs that we're doing, and we're just like you. And that immediately brings them into, wow, this is something that I, would know. This is the company that I would kind of like to invest in. So, because it's someone I know, or it's something I know, or that's how I would expect a company to be run. So, thank you guys so much, and I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys later. Take care. Bye.